What is going on, guys? Troublesome here, and I'm back with another episode of Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. Today's day I've been waiting for a long time. K3 Rambo, and I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's K3 Rambo is the mod maker. Maybe it's K Rambo or something. Finally re-released the Lamborghini COUNTACH. This is my all-time favorite European car, Italian car ever. Now, it is also probably one of the most impractical, but it brings me memories of my childhood because this was the car. So, I got two of them because I kept going back to the auction house. I'm still looking for the Lamborghini Miura that Gollywog has done, but I cannot find it, man. I've been there 1,000 times. And to the junkyard, and I've got every single Lamborghini mod that I've downloaded has popped up, except for that Miura. Got the Murcielago, the Huracan, the Diablo, the Aventador, and did I leave any out? And obviously the COUNTACH. But man, that freaking Miura won't show its face, and I don't really know why. And I really want to do that because that is the originator of the Lamborghini V12 flagships. So, you know, whatever. It is what it is. I will find it eventually, but for now, we're going to do the COUNTACH. And I'm going to do 2 episodes of COUNTACH because I love this car, and there's a lot of history to go over. So, let's just get started. You know what's strange is this car here was over $100,000, and you can see it's a lot rustier. And condition-wise, well, it's now dropped because I've taken a bunch of stuff off of it, but condition-wise, it's not near as good as this one is physically, but this one is only worth like 83. And if you look at the conditions here, they're really high, except global parts, so the engine and suspension must be just completely ragged on this one. But it does look better from the outside looking in. I mean, it looks pretty good. Minus those wheels, it's pretty sharp. So that's kind of peculiar. Now, I already looked in the shop. The only model of the COUNTACH available is the LP5000 QV, which is a quattro valve, which is pronounced quattro valvolio something that I don't understand. And it was like an 85 to 88 model. The COUNTACH was originally introduced as an LP400 in, I believe it was 1971 Geneva Auto Show. And then I think the first one sold in Australia in 1974. I think that's right. So the original car didn't have the flares on the fenders and the spoiler on the back, and quite as aggressive lines on the bottom side, the side skirts and the rear bumper weren't nearly as aggressive. And the US spec is known for being completely ugly because it's got these huge, ridiculous ugly rubber bumper additions on it. And that option's not on here either. Now, in an ideal world, I would be able to build, because the base of this car, the body of the car never really changed. They just added more, like, if you look at this one in the background, these flares, these side skirts, this across the front, that wing in the back, it just got added to more and more as the years progressed. But you could actually do all the way back with that same chassis with different bumpers and other aspects. You could actually do all the way back to the original LP400, and that would be super rad. I will take what I get, though. So one of the reasons that I'm not a huge fan of the LP5000 is because of those strakes on the side right there, because I think they're too Ferrari-esque. Personally, the body rolling completely under on the LP500 was my personal favorite. And I think one of the main reasons for that is because the first time I ever saw this car was in the movie Cannonball Run 2, and they had an LP500. Oh my god. It was like an 83 or something, 500 on that car. And if you if you YouTube the intro to that movie, the scene is so cool because the car has like this white, it's like almost a chalky white look. But of course, in the early 80s, you couldn't tell how glossy it was because of how lousy the cameras were. But you can kind of tell that it's kind of a crappy paint job. And there's a scene where they get out of the car, there's two girls in it, and they get out of the car and put a sticker over a 55-mile-an-hour sign and change it to 155. And when they open the door, you can see the red insides of it. You can see the red, what are they called? The door sills are all red. And it kind of doesn't make any sense, but it's an Italian car that you don't see very often, so you just kind of say, oh, well, maybe they just did that with Italian cars. Or at least that's what I thought when I was, 7 years old watching it. And what actually it is they put some kind of whitewash over the car, and they're running from the cops in this scene, and they actually go to I don't know, it's like a construction site, and there's some guys out there with this big fire hose, and they hose the car off, and it's red underneath. So they just hose this like whitewash off of it, and then a red Lamborghini speeds off. It's so cool. What was that? Oh, that was the sway bar in link. Anyway, I will link to it in the description if you want to watch that scene. It's very cheesy now because it is from the early 80s, but it is so rad. And it is why I love the LP500 so much. That was the first time I ever saw it in action. And it's awesome because if you look at the footage, now I can tell because I'm an adult, but if you look at that footage, so much of it is sped up to make it look like it's going a lot faster because I don't know, I mean, the Lamborghini was pretty quick for its time, but it wasn't so fast that it wasn't so fast that the camera made it look insane, if that makes any sense. So they sped up the footage, and you can tell when they do some of the exit scenes and stuff that there's no way the car could hold a corner like that. Not only the Lamborghini, but the police car is an old, Dodge Diplomat or something, and it holds this corner going what appears to be about 120 mile an hour, and there's no way. It's cool. I miss being naive enough to believe stuff like that. Either way, the clip still brings back a ton of nostalgia for me, and it's just cool. It's just cool. I watched the movie so much when I was a kid. And we didn't own it. I had to go rent it for $1.50 or something down at the local gas station. I had to ride my bike in there and rent it at the local gas station every time I wanted to watch it. And I would just watch it over and over and over again. I just remember it was such a distinct memory of mine. So that's that's a pretty stripped Countach right there. I forgot about the headlights. I think the only option on this body-wise is flip-up headlights are an option, but that's it. I really wish I could take that side strake off and just have that factory body line down there, because that was stuck on later. But, can't have your cake and eat it too. I'll take what I get. I'm thinking that I didn't take out that, I don't think I took off the transmission underneath. Let me go back underneath here and do that. Oh, and the fuel tank. Man, I'm slacking. Alright, so it looks like this has the overhead cam V8. Now, to speak a little bit to the original Countach of this year, it actually had 5-liter V12. Obviously, it's longitudinally placed mid-engine in the, so that means it was in front of the rear axle, but behind the behind the driver's seat. And LP actually stands for longitudinal posterior, which essentially means sideways in the back in Italian. So that is what it is. The designer of this crazy wedge, his name was, I'm probably going to butcher this pronunciation, but it is Marcello Gandini. And he is from the Bertone group. I think I trashed that, yep. He's from the Bertone Automotive Group, who helped design the Lamborghini Miura, which was the first, which was the original Lamborghini supercar, which I'm still shopping for on, in everywhere that I've subscribed to that Gollywog did. So I'm still looking for that guy. I'm sorry. I'm not sure if I said that correctly. The guy is not the guy who designed the Miura. The Bertone Group is. But this designer was apparently some sort of a rookie when it came to designing cars, and he was a visionary, but he also didn't he's also very impractical when it came to... Did I forget to take that out? I did. He also made very impractical cars, which is kind of funny, because one of the things that you'll always hear about the Countach is that it is the most ridiculously uncomfortable car ever made. Also, rear visibility was horrible, and the 5000 had this additional hump on the hood right here. Something about the way the carburetors were aligned and made the rear visibility even worse. Because if you look back at the 500s and stuff like that, this was flat, and this just had ribs down the middle of it, and there was a lot bigger viewing window. But this was absolutely, I mean, look at that. I don't know if I can get to the right angle. I can't. I can bounce it though. Anyway, if you look down that, you can barely see the back window at all. And it was like horrible. Let's see, did I get all that? I did get all that. Global body, maybe. Engine cover, front license plate. Okay. So, most of that's good. I still have to buy seats. So anyway, that's kind of the story of the look. Now, as the story goes, whenever Ferrucci Lamborghini saw the prototype of the first one, he said an explicative in Italian. And I don't exactly know what that explicative means, but whatever that explicative is the word Countach. So draw your own conclusions from how it sounds as to what that word might be. But that is the lore, that's how it came up with its name. Now, most Lamborghinis are, their names are derived from bullfighting history of Italy, but I would say there's some credence to this one being called the Countach because of the design. And if you look at this design and consider the 70s, that was the age of some boxy ass vehicles. I need a lot of parts here. I'm going to put together everything that I possibly can, but I'm out of bushings and I'm out of a lot of things. Okay, boys, that is the rear suspension. That is a freaking wide tire, man. I think it's like a 345 or something. Something crazy wide, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to finish up the front suspension, and then I'm going to look at the wheel options because I know the one that's on here is pretty close to what it came with, but it's not perfect. I'm probably not going to find perfect. But I'm definitely going to shop for something more perfect. And I will adjust the size according to my vision of scale. Because typically this thing came with 15s, and typically 15s are like super small. And I didn't even pay attention to what was on it. Maybe like a 17 or 18 might be necessary for it to look right. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. Right now, I'm just going to finish putting this front suspension together, and then I'll be back with the wheel selection. Now, one thing I did want to point out before I get too far ahead of myself is big props to K3 for giving me full suspension on the front. I love it. Even though this thing was like a tubular space frame, obviously they can't do that, which I am completely under, I get it. But what he did do is give me a full on suspension. So I have a steering box. I have all the front end components that I need to make this a complete car, and that makes me feel warm and fuzzy. A lot warmer than it is outside. Okay, I think that is complete suspension. Man, that looks... Man, I just... envious and in awe. That hole is kind of hard to get to. Now, there are a couple things in here that I have not even touched yet. These air filters I need to get out of here. And then it looks like he did these radiators. Yeah, mounted kind of strangely to pick up the cool air coming in from those little weird little intakes on the top sides of the rear quarter panels. You see back there, if you look at my cursor there in black, that's where the air was brought into the engine. Now, I don't know enough about the practical design of this to know if these side strakes actually did anything, if they helped cool the rear brakes, or if they were just a cosmetics thing. But this was in the mid-'80s whenever the Testarossa was a big deal, and I don't know if Lamborghini was just trying to answer that side strake deal with it or what. Oh, dopey dope. He put a K3 on the bottom of the hood. That is sweet. Oh, love it. Love it. Alright, wheel selection. Now, what was on here is down here somewhere. I believe he put this one on here because the Countach had holes around the perimeter of it. But they weren't this far out. They were actually more in the middle, kind of where the lug nut holes are. And it looks like that's about as good as it gets. Alright, I just went and looked. It does have a 15 on it, and I'm going to go just a shade bit bigger. It looks like for wheels I don't have a choice, but the other one I'm going to get a little silly and try to customize it. I'm going to go with a 17 on this. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with a 17 here, and then I will go with similar sized tires. I'll go with a race tire. Two of them need to be 205s is what was on it. I'll stick with that. 205/50. So I'm going to go with a 45, a little bit lower profile because of my overall diameter being bigger. So, and then I need two that are 17s, and these are monsters. 345s. 35. So I'll go with a 30 because I've got a bigger diameter, and that should match up fairly well. We'll just see. We'll just see. I'll be back whenever I get all this stuff mounted and ready to go. That sucker's a beast. Look how wide that is, man. That's huge. Okay, last one's balancing. I'm going to go ahead and see how these look. Not sure if I made a mistake or not going bigger rim, because that just amplifies the ugliness of the rim. No, I think that was a good choice. I think it was a good choice. Compared to that, I don't know, that meaty sidewall is kind of indicative of Countach. I don't really know. I don't know. I did get the same seats because they're pretty perfect. The actual Countach had a very curvy seat just because they had to make it fit into what it was. But with this steering wheel, I think it's a little bit more accurate to the original than this one, which is what was in it. Okay, so now where are we at? We are at 96. Engine cover is the only thing, and I will put that back on after I put the engine in. Looks like everything else is good. I'm going to spray this thing. Then I'll do the engine, and then we'll call it. Now, this one came white. This one came white, but red is a super, super awesome Countach color, I think. And it's like the one that was in Cannonball Run, too. So that's what I'm going to go with. Yeah, boy, that right there is a poster of every 80s child. Okay, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. Did I go too big with the wheels? I'm thinking I might have. Now, on the next episode that I do a Countach on, which I'm going to try to do a Miura in between, I'm going to go and I'm going to get a little experimental with the wheels style, just because, why not, you know? I do think that looks pretty awesome. The only thing I don't like is this wheel kind of looks like it makes it's a kit car that I tried to match the wheel, but I couldn't afford it. If that makes any sense. So anyway, I don't know. I'm going to rebuild this off camera, and then I'll be back with the transmission, engine and transmission install. How about that? Okay, guys, I am buttoning up the last bit under the hood of this thing. I got the radiators and fans in, new air filters, air filter boxes. I'm going to put some oil in this. Then I got to go up front, put in the brake master cylinder, and I think the battery, which I probably need to go grab off of the charger, even though I did buy some. Because batteries have been seeming to be running low lately. Kind of regretting my wheel choice here, guys. Kind of wish I would have gone with the smaller one. Don't hear me say that very often. Why won't it open? Oh, because it's tagged as a door, and it's on the lift. Dope. So here's what I got to do. I got to move this one over to here, and then actually, you know what, I'm gonna get this Huracan out of here. I'm not gonna get rid of it, I'm just gonna put it in the parking garage. Now my goal is to have one garage level full of Lamborghinis, full up to the top. Now I need to run this over here to one of these garage space, or one of these garage spaces, so I can open this up. Now I should be able to put back in the stuff. Brake master cylinder and the battery. I think that's a complete car, guys. Nope, it is not. I don't have the transmission on, drive shaft and starter, and then the engine cover, and that is not a big deal. Ooh, love it. I do need to move it back over here to the lift, and I do need to put the transmission on because that was dumb. That is me getting overexcited. Alright, V8 gearbox, V8 starter, and that drive shaft is going to be a little tricky because it is way out of position. Either way, there it is. Yeah, I really wish I would have gone with the 15s. Really wish I would have. But anyway, that is it, guys. That is $221,000 Lamborghini Countach LP 5000. Now, I am going to be back. I am definitely not going to sell this thing. I am going to be back with another episode eventually, and I'm going to restore that one. And I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about design cues, and we're just going to get a little deeper into the education of it, and then I'm going to tell you about the different model bodies through the years and how they evolved, because I think it's just fascinating as hell. This car ran production for a really long time, and it's just awesome. Now, one cool thing about this, besides the scissor doors, and we'll get into that next time around, is the trunk area. The spare tire pretty much took up all this space. And that's how it was. So there was actually the wing folded up, and there was a little trunk area back here. That is legit. So that is K3's Lamborghini Countach LP 5000. Huge thank you to that guy, because I did bug him a little bit about it, but I got to the point where I didn't want to bug him about it because I felt like a douche. So finally he just did it, man. He released it, re-released it. So that is it. Hey guys, if you like this video, hit that like button, will you? It helps me out a bunch. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. I drop new content every single day. Car Mechanic Simulator mods are thick, man, and I got miles to go. Anyway, that being said, I appreciate it as always, and I will see you guys next time.